This is Mahmudul Hassan, student of University of Hertfordshire, student ID 20064687. This is my student ID card. Today I'm going to submit my presentation, um, Alternate Dispute Resolution, Watershed Limited and Tanzania Government. Introduction. The main aim of the presentation is to examine the dispute scenarios in delivering the services to the Tanzania government by Watershed Limited and thus assess the breach of contract from both parties. Prospective in similar manner, the investor-state arbitral proceedings are also discussed so that the ongoing dispute can be resolved in a legal manner. In this presentation, I am appointed as counsel representing Watershed Limited, and thus it is my responsibility to represent the legal position of Watershed Limited against the Tanzania government. In the mentioned case, Watershed signed a contract with the Tanzania government to develop the water and sewerage project, and the project started in the year 2015 to 16. Due to failing in contractual terms, Watershed faced protest by local people, and negotiation with the Tanzania government also failed. Furthermore, the Tanzania government unilaterally terminated the contract with Watershed Limited and also took over the assessed the management of the company. Later, the Tanzania government also deported the senior management of Watershed Limited and appointed their own. In law, in legal terms, the contract is a written document that is signed by two or more than two parties, and its aim is to conduct the business or project in a legal manner. While signing the contract, the parties outline and the term and conditions such as quality consideration, time considerations, and pricing framework so that the project can be implemented in an efficient manner. The contract also binds the firms to fulfill the contractual terms, and thus the contracts are legally enforceable. Finally, in order to make the contracts, the scenarios such as offer acceptance. In the law, the breach of contract is scenarios in which one party becomes unable to fulfill the terms and conditions mentioned in the contract, and it may due to intentions or due to unexpected situation. Furthermore, the breach of contract also happens when one party refuses to follow the obligations, and this impacts the other party in terms of finance and project management scenarios. In order to resolve the breach of contract, the parties initially try to negotiate the terms and conditions, but when the terms and conditions become out of scope, the party filing the case in court. Breach contract. Number one, violation of term and condition by any party. Number two, one party does not fulfill the obligation. And number three, one party does not fulfill the obligations. Hawking 2022. In this case, there are several issues that impacted the implementation of the project, and also created a breach of contract scenarios. The breach of contract seems to be from both sides, because poor management and financial losses by Watershed Limited prompted the people of protest and government to take action. On the other hand side, the Tanzania government responded in the unethical manner by taking over the management and assets of Watershed Limited and then continuing with the project. Finally, the negotiation also failed, and thus the case needs to be forwarded in court and legal. Breach of contract in the Watershed Limited Tanzania government case, poor mismanagement by Watershed Limited, and their financial losses by Watershed Limited unilaterally contract termination by Tanzania government, taking over assets and management of Watershed Limited by the Tanzania government. The alternative dispute resolution is a modern framework through which the dispute between two or more than two parties are resolved in an efficient and effective manner, and thus resolving the matters outside the courtrooms. In the earlier process, the legal positions, mm, interest, and losses of both parties are considered so that mutual benefit can be provided in order to resolve the conflicts through ADR. Mediation and arbitration are commonly followed in the mediation process. Third parties mediate between the two parties and thus take the consensus-based decisions. Finally, in the arbitral tribunal is the independent and semi-governmental bodies that contains professional people from the industries such as construction and law, so that the conflict between the two or more than two parties can be resolved in a constitutional manner. In order to resolve the conflicts, the arbitral tribunal basically adopts the friendly dispute resolution process, and thus providing the outcome of the dispute and thus resolving the matters in a proper manner. Benticus 2015. In this case, the role of the arbitral tribunal needs to be considered and discussed, and these scenarios are: the arbitral tribunal is a council that helps in resolving the conflicts, adopt friendly dispute resolution framework, and represent the professional people in the industries. In the case of Watershed Limited and Tanzania government, the arbitral tribunal can play a major and crucial role, and thus helping in the resolving the ongoing disputes and completing the water and sewerage system project in a timely and efficient manner. In this context, the arbitral tribunal can also help in framing the governmental policies to prevent people from protesting in a violent manner, as well as modifying the payment and time terms of project. In a similar manner, the arbitral tribunal can also help in enhancing the project management and resource management to Watershed Limited. Role of Arbitration Tribunal in the Watershed Limited Tanzania government case, framing the policy to prevent people from interrupting the governmental projects, modifying the payment and finance terms, extending the project deadline, improving the management of Watershed Limited, management of assets and resource of Watershed. The Bilateral Investment Treaty (VIT) was signed between the United Republic of Tanzania and the United Kingdom in the year 1994 under the International Investment Agreement (IIA). So, so that the sustainable development and inclusive growth of both countries can be sustained in a long term. This agreement outlines that the need of mutual cooperation and mutual collaboration, implementing and delivering the project in efficient manner. The guidelines also highlighted that investor-state dispute settlement will be enforceable, and both parties are required to resolve the disputes in a United Republic of Tanzania United Kingdom (VIT 1994). The agreement deals promoting inclusive growth and sustainable development, international investment guidance at the military level, contract and project management terms and negotiation, adopt investment state dispute settlement (STS). The Investor State Dispute Settlement (ISDS) is a process and framework by which the investor are equipped to take legal actions in case of discriminatory parties followed by Tanzania government after investing in the project. The ISDS applies when the investor invests in foreign direct investment (ISDS), and it also contains the obligatory provisions for the Tanzania governments and investors. In a similar manner, ISDS promotes that the Tanzania government is required to provide equitable and fair treatment to the investment parties and thus safeguard an investment. Investor-State Dispute Settlement (ISDS). Investor-State Settlement is connected with previous for suing the Tanzania government for adopting discriminatory scenarios. The foreign direct investment motivates the UK investor to invest in Tanzania and propels the Tanzania government to adopt equitable and fair treatment to investor. Watershed Limited needs to initiate attribution proceeding against the Tanzania government because it faces many issues while implementing the project of water and sewerage management. First, Watershed Limited and the Tanzania government are required to appoint independent arbitrators. Secondly, the ISDS framework enables Watershed Limited to bypass the national law and jurisdiction as well as safeguard and investment rights. Furthermore, Watershed Limited needs to be protected against the exploitation conducted by the local protester and thus it is the responsibility of the Tanzania. Watershed Limited needs to start the proceeding by following the below mentioned provision. Bypassing the national jurisdiction and independent attribution, the protection from exploitation by local protester, um, full protection and security of assets and resource. The above-mentioned framework outline the important aspects of initiating the attribution proceeding against the Tanzania government. In the first step, Watershed Limited is required to appoint an attributor and thus referring the case of attributable tribunal the comply with ISDS provisions. Similarly, Watershed Limited needs to submit the statement of claim regarding the financial losses, delay in project and loss of resources so that the case can become strong and legal. In a similar manner, Watershed Limited also need to require attributable tribunal to summons the Tanzania government for a framework of arbitration proceeding. In order to make the case of arbitral proceeding strong, Watershed Limited also needs to provide the statement of claim regarding many issues such as reasons for mismanagement, reasons for financial losses, reasons for resources mismanagement, and reasons for not continuing with the water and sewerage project. In similar manner, Watershed Limited also needs to outline that access to the workplace was blocked and their offices were burned and thus resulting in the ISDS violation. Finally, the Tanzania government also took over the resources, assessed the and management of Watershed Limited. Watershed Limited needs to take a strong position regarding the financial and non-financial losses caused due to the government of Tanzania and needs to forward in the interest such as breach of contracting by Tanzania government. In a similar manner, Watershed Limited also needs to calculate the financial losses due to the violent protest and the financial losses that occurred due to mismanagement, time and cost overrun. Finally, it is also recommended for Watershed Limited to get all the compensation for losses and then continue with project and finish the project in proper. Additional recommendation of Watershed Limited, it is recommended to the position in interest such as contribution from the Tanzania government to complete the project, get compensation for financial losses, get the compensation for cost, time, over. And in this presentation, the alternative dispute resolution framework is discussed and evaluated, and it considered two parties, Tanzania government and Watershed Limited, in order to resolve the conflict. The negotiation was um, held and filed, and it is caused the project to delay, causing financial losses and lost resources. Furthermore, the ISDS framework applies to the case. Watershed Limited recommended to appoint the arbitrators and those submit and the present statement of claim of research, finance and management losses. Finally, Watershed Limited in a position to get financial compensation. And here is my references where I got the information and everything. So that's all. Thank you so much.